Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Bev. I'm from Rescue Recycle Reuse and I'm based in Queensland, Australia. So hello, welcome, jump on, tell me where you're watching from. So this is my new little helper, guys. Aww. She's here and she's going to hang out with us today while we paint. So this is my new little pup, Indy. Isn't she just the cutest little thing? And she's named Indy for independence because she was born on the 4th of July. So yeah, I really like that name for her. So what I'm doing today is I've got this little dresser here. I've given it a quick coat of paint. And I had put some slick stick on it before because I didn't want to sand it, but it has had a good clean. But I've noticed there's a couple of little holes here. Now, they could be old borer holes. They're certainly not active ones because I have sort of looked at it and I'm not sure if you can see them or not. There's a few of them around. So I really noticed them when I was putting on my first coat. So I'm just going to go across, there's a few others that I've done, but I'm just going to show how easy it is just using the Dixie mud to fill those up. So yeah, I'm just going to use my Dixie mud and scrape it basically over those. Now, when you're doing this at home, you want to let it dry very well before you paint over it. But because these are really, really shallow little holes that I'm filling, so they're just shallow marks, it's going to dry really quickly, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to paint over it in a minute. And I'm going to be playing around with these are the 3 pinks that I'm using. So Peony, she is sweet, soft pink and pink champagne. So I'm going to do white on the outside. Was that what I was doing? No, sorry, I was doing pink on the outside and then blending it down into the whites so that when I put my decoupage paper on and seal it, I can actually come back over the edges of that and sort of blend that white in so that you don't see it. I'm going to blend it into pink. And then I thought on the sides I might do some stripes in the pink and white. So white in the middle. So I've already got one white down, one coat of cotton, so I'm going to put a bit more. It doesn't matter so much on this middle part because I am going to have the paper there. Mix up some paint, the Peony, and I think mix it with a little bit of the pink champagne. The Peony is just a little bit too bright for what I want. So it's the same colour, it's the right colour, just not quite right tone. I'm going to mix it here. I might bring this down here a little bit, just a soft pink. But just add a bit more white to it and soften that up. So I'm going to add some white onto there, that's the cotton. And I'm just going to soften that down as I go. Okay, so I think later when this is dry, I'm going to come back and do a little bit of dry brushing across that part. I want to soften it. I want that pink coming through, but not quite as stark as what it is along this section here. So I'm going to use a little bit of the pink champagne just on its own, which is a really, really light, soft, really light pink, and I'm going to put that across here. I love painting with these paints. They're so forgiving and they're so easy to blend with. What you doing there, Bubby? What you doing? What you doing? She's so cute. Just want to eat her up. Now, when you're doing your little cupboards and things, it's always nice if you do a little stencil or something decorative on the inside there. That always comes up really nice too. So I think I'll do like just something really pretty, or maybe just put a little pretty transfer or something on there, because it's nice when you open your drawers. These drawers are actually pretty good. They're nice and clean and solid and timber, so I'm not going to paint them. If they were stained or marked, then I'd probably paint inside as well, but I don't normally do it. I've got my other little dog, Kobe. He has seizures. He has like epilepsy, and we have to give him, dose him twice a day to stop him having seizures. Because when they have them, it is the worst thing, isn't it? Oh my goodness, I feel so helpless when you can't help them. You know, when they have seizures, their little bodies go stiff, and you can always tell when he's going to have one. He doesn't have them very often, and you know, now because we do medicating. Yeah, so he follows you around. He knows he's going to have a seizure. Did your dog used to do that? Did it sort of know when he was going to have seizures? Yeah, it is. It's very heartbreaking. But if we didn't get another one, you miss out on so much. You know, you feel really bad. I always feel bad about, you know, getting another one. I think, oh, you know, I feel like I'm replacing them. But, you know, you miss so much joy if you don't you? They bring you so much joy. What you can see is I have sprayed with my misting bottle along the edges of the paper, and I've torn it so that I've taken away that stark straight edge that you have. So because it's not covering my whole piece, I want to blend it in. Now let me tell you how I started to prepare that, okay? I just got out of the shower, my hair's all wet, look, all over the place. I used a base, a white base underneath. Now it doesn't matter, you know, whatever your paints are that you use, but I used cotton in the Dixie Belle range, and I did sort of a white center, and then I came out and blended some of these areas into sort of into a pink color. So I used, if you guys want to do the same, you can use, I used the Peony and added it with a little bit of pink champagne, but you can also use just a bit of white to go with it, cotton or something if you want. And that comes up with a really nice tone, which is just like in parts of, you know, this decoupage paper. I love this paper. Let me tell you why I love this paper. It's got all these silk threads through it. So basically, you'll see them, they're little white threads. And if I bring you down really close again, you might see some. See these little fibers? These are fibers through it. And they give it a really nice little sort of textured look. Now, what you can do, sometimes when you're using them, you might find like there's one here, but when you're applying your product, sometimes your fibers, you might find one that comes a little bit loose. If that happens, don't pull it, I just simply snip it off. So when I find my scissors later, I will just snip that off, and then when I seal it, it'll just seal it all the way over. I don't want to start pulling it because it might tear. But the reason we have these fibers and why they're so good is that they make this paper so strong so that you can reposition it. But so, I do want to say that when you get to these edges here, and you're applying, like you're actually, whether it's applying your top coat or anything, you want to go always outwards. So you don't want to be going towards those edges. You don't want to lift up those edges. So you want to go outwards, okay? Okay, so can you see over here? So I've got a bit of cotton there. And now I'm going to add some of this Peony. Isn't that a great colour? And it just matches in beautifully with the Teddies. So if you're looking to colour match, these are perfect. Bit of Peony, and I'm going to use a little bit of, take out a little bit of the pink champagne. Okay, so we've got the pink champagne here. That's a fairly light pink, soft pink, perfect for kids' rooms. You always want to seal your decoupage papers before you start working, because you're going to be working with wet, you know, your paints are wet obviously, so you don't want them soaking through, and you don't want them lifting up your paper. I'm going to start just by putting some whites. I want to sort of bring that down a bit. So I'm going to make sure I go over all those edges. I haven't got a lot of paint on my brush, but I do want to make sure that the thickest part of it is where those edges would have been, sort of overlapping those. So I'm going to bring that down a bit. And then when it's a bit drier, I'm going to dry brush up here a little bit as well. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, you just want to get rid of some of that square shape. So we've taken away the fact that it was on a square piece of paper, and we've mixed it all up so that you can't see that at all anymore. And by bringing the white down, it brings, because it actually cuts off along here, the paper. It actually cuts off just under their feet, or not far under their feet. But by extending this down, we're sort of bringing the foreground, extending the foreground. So you're in fact making it look like your picture's bigger. Okay, so now this is getting, I've got a couple of loose bristles. That's the thing with natural bristle brushes, is they often tend to lose bristles. I'm going to give this a light sand when it's dry, so it'll pick up any bristles. This is getting a little bit damp now, so I'm just going to, a little bit dry. So I'm just going to slightly mist my brush. And I want to get rid of some of that colour off there as well, because I don't want it to just keep blending into soft pink. I want it to create texture. And yeah, so what I'm doing is, I'll show you how, if you haven't done them before, I'm going to show you how easy it is to measure them out. But this side, I thought we'd just get started. I was originally going to use the copper bronze glaze. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it doesn't, I don't think it really goes with the color pink that I've got. So it's a really pretty glaze, but it's just not, I don't think, quite right for this project. So I'm going to go with the Pearlescent. And it's just going to give it a little bit more interest and a bit of shimmer. But we are going to be using the Pearlescent glaze because it's just a little bit more sparkly. So you just want to mix it all up so that you've got any components all mixed in there. I'm just using just a little craft brush because I'm only doing small little bits here. And you don't need a lot, so you don't need to put it on thick or anything. Can you see that? See how it's coming up really nice? Just that little bit of colour. too easy. How easy was that, guys? Super, super easy. Now, I've got a little bit of a pink. I mean, if you wanted to, maybe I could put a bit of glaze. I might even put a little bit of glaze over those. What do you think? Should I put some glaze on the front? These little pinkish, they're white with just a little bit of really pale pink. I love glaze, especially the pearl glaze, because you can put it in all sorts of things. Maybe I'll just do a little bit around the edges. You've seen I'm making it so blingy. Now, I gave my gator hide a good mix before, so it's had a nice good mix up. Just got my blue sponge and I wet this and squeezed it out. You can see there's no water, it's like almost dry. But that sort of stops your waste in your gator hide so that your gator hide sits more on the bottom part of your sponge, rather than soaking all the way up through it. Now you can tip some into a container. I'm just going to use the top of my lid. Or here you go. Oops. I'm just going to, because it's nice and round, it fits perfectly in the big ones. I'm just going to pop it in. See how I've got that there? And I'm going to just smush it off a bit in my lid so that it's nice and even. So I've got a nice even coating. I'm going to start with the edge. You can start wherever you want. And I like to actually start not right at the end because you tend to get drips. I like to start back here just a little bit to do my first run and then come back. Now I'm not pushing down on it. I'm just simply softly dragging it over the top, and then when I move on to the next section I'm overlapping it slightly. See you next week. Have a fabulous week, guys, and if you are on this lovely Sunshine Coast in Queensland, come and see me at Yamundi Square, which is near the Yamundi Markets on the Sunshine Coast. Okay, see you next time. Bye.